Hey, hey, hey. That is really loud. There we go. This StreamYard is sometimes kind of strange. What is up? What is up? What is up? It is Wolfgang Wednesday. Gonna be hanging out, having a little chat, see who jumps in. Maybe half hour, 45 minutes, 3 hours, who knows. So, what you guys up to? Say hello to everybody in the chat. We got Zach. We got Symmetry. What's up, Trev? We got Rob Blackmore Official. What's going on, guys? Total whopping 4 of you here. Rob 5150 EVH. How's it going, man? Six Fingered Assault jumping in. Yo, what's going on, Mike Olson? You guys feel free to click the link and join in. You got some guitars set up, play some riffs, just hang out, see what's up. The background music you're hearing there is a song from my band from several years ago. A lot of times you'll hear me play that riff. All right, we have a wild Trev. Let's get him in here.
Why not?
Yeah. What's going on, Trev? How's it going, man? Let me get this paused here. How you been, dude?
Not bad, not bad. It was a home day today, so just putting around in the office.
No fixing appliances today, huh?
No road trips.
Cool deal.
Can't fix them too good or they never break and then you don't have a job anymore.
Right? You got to keep that job security going. We got Rob 5150 EVH says we going wet, dry, wet tonight. We go wet, dry, wet every night, dude. I've got a little...
You're starting with a Wolfgang?
I do have a Wolfgang. Got the Wolfgang Sig.
Nice.
This seemed to be everybody's favorite from last Wolfgang Wednesday, so figured I'd start with this. So
right on.
This is probably one of the best feeling, one of the best sounding guitars that truthfully I've ever played. So
is that a made in Japan?
This one, no, this is USA.
US?
Yeah. It's got the the headstock binding on it, the ebony board, the kill switch. This is the USA signature model.
Beautiful.
I think this is the only signature or the only Wolfgang that has a little bit different pickup in the neck. All the others are a little different, but yeah, this is certainly one of my favorites. I figured out I saw somebody on a YouTube video and they had one of these. And I was like, hey, they have a normal strap on there. That's a pretty good idea. So I took a normal strap and I cut the slot a little bit so I could slide it over these hooks. So now I don't have those metal clasps clanking around on the finish of the guitar. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's see what we going on here. We got everybody just saying hello to everybody. Mike Olson is in here. So what's everybody doing? Let me get to the chat over here where I can see this. How's everybody's Monday going?
Looks like mostly greetings and salutations happening at the moment.
Yeah, so far. So
making me thirsty.
I say, you hear me playing that riff sometimes. That's the song that I was playing on the intro.
Right on.
Rob Blackmore is having a good Wednesday. You guys jump on in, man. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. I got something a little interesting that I'm going to show a little bit later. It's not really Wolfgang Wednesday, but related. But I think it's kind of cool. I think you guys will kind of appreciate it. I don't know what I would do with it, but I'll save that for just a little bit.
Suspense.
Yeah. You guys might notice that you can see some pedals right here. I got my original striped. I've had this one for a long time.
Nice.
I've got the flanger, and I picked this up a couple months ago, but I just haven't hooked it up yet. So I'm gonna be working on a pedal board and getting these things in the front. But this, this rig has always just sounded so good without anything in front of it. I just never have worried about it.
Indeed.
Six Fingered is saying it is the 26th here in Australia Day. He calls it EVH Day for Eddie's birthday. Heading out soon to celebrate. What kind of stuff goes on in Australia for Australia Day? Six Fingered. Obviously celebrating Eddie's birthday. We got a few hours to go before we can celebrate that. But what do you guys do in Australia?
See, I kind of knew that in my back of my mind, because here we have Whistler, the ski resort.
Right.
And it's got to be 50% Australians that are there. And
Oh, really?
On the 26th, every year you go up there and they're wearing their flags and hooting and hollering, and it's a whole lot of drinking going on.
Cool.
I imagine it's not much different back on the homeland.
Gotcha. Zach says he's just come inside from shoveling snow. That sounds like a blast. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned Whistler. I have actually been skiing there. That was my first and only time trying to ski. I did not break a leg, so I call it a successful trip. Yeah. But I never really have wanted to do it again.
How long ago would that have been?
That was probably 1999.
Cool. It's come a long way since then.
Yeah, I think there's been an Olympics there, and it's a big tourist place now, so staying busy.
They've got a gondola now that goes from peak to peak across the two mountains.
Okay.
That's a trip with the glass floor.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, that was the first time that I'd ever tried to ski, and they put me on the little bunny slope to start with. They had these skis that were real wide on the end, and kind of, I snapped into them, and I was like, I can do this. And I just took off, went down the little hill, got down to the little hill, and it just felt natural to kind of slide and stop. So I had that down. By the end of the day, I wasn't doing the black diamond stuff, but I was doing the intermediate coming down the hill. Yeah. It was pretty fun. I just don't like the cold.
Cold. I hear you.
I don't like the snow going down my pants. I did wipe out a few times, had some good wipeouts. But I was geared up, had the snow pants, the snow boots, and all bundled up, and
toque.
Yeah, the toque, as Ben Coombs was talking about the other day. we call it a ski hat, so but toque is good. When I married my wife, she's from Toronto, so from that point on, I started calling it a toque. So, but yeah, skiing was just never something I wanted to try again. How often do you go?
I've been half a dozen times in my life. Haven't been in 20 years.
Right. Like growing up, I grew up on the coast, so we had the beach, and I went to the beach maybe 10 times in my life. It's like, oh yeah, okay, beach. All the other tourists are coming in and spending their week and their weekends on the beach. I'm like, eh. So kind of the same thing with you and snow skiing.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So Six Finger said for Australia Day, everyone just gets blind to barbecue and listen to loud music.
Kind of what I figured.
Yeah. Mike says, I do a lot of that as well to Zach. Oh, coming in from shoveling, I guess. North Idaho, no snow in the last 5 days. We had here in the Atlanta area, it was a high
Yeah,
of about 65 today. So felt like a spring day.
no doubt.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's
We're,
almost shorts weather.
yeah.
Almost.
For a Canadian, yeah. Uh, like saying lucky. So what you guys want to hear? I've kind of been working on that riff a little bit, Trev. Listen. I know
I
it's not exact, but I kind
getting
of
there.
like I kind of like to do my own thing with a lot of stuff. You know, it doesn't have to be exact.
Exactly.
You know, a lot of guitar
That's half
players
the fun of
too.
it.
Even the guitar player that freaking wrote the riff, he probably never played the same. You know, when he played live or whatever. So, yeah, I yeah, sounds like rat because it's trying to sound like rat.
Still a riff.
Something like that. I didn't realize that little stretch there, so I got that figured out. Okay, maybe I don't have it figured out. Yeah, there it is. It's quite a little stretch right there on that lick or that chord. Pretty cool chord. So where's your buddy John tonight?
He's he's off all week, so he's probably at home hanging out. I'm surprised he hadn't jumped in here. That's a
Oh,
good
okay.
question. Should ping
So
him.
how long have you known John?
About a year and a half.
Oh yeah.
First ran into him in Pete Thorne's chat. You see,
Okay.
for me, it started off October 6th, 2020. You come home, hit the YouTubes, and there's all kinds of stuff's going on, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there was the Rick Beato thing, which I got on there. Saw that Michael Palmasato guy, he's had his thing going there. And that kind of is what lit the flame
Mm-hmm.
to reinterest in, you know what, I should give guitar another try.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Eddie, in your honor, I'll give her another go, brother. Let's do it.
Yep.
So, within a couple of weeks, we had the guitar and the Marshall, and here we are.
Yeah. Cool.
So
So
from Beato's, went to Pete's, went to Ben Coombs, and kind of formed those relationships about a year and a half ago.
yeah. Cool. So Ben, you know, I met him the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool dude. He's got a nice
Yeah,
channel. I was watching some of his content, and he put out a taste test video today for a raspberry Coke. I thought
didn't
that
seem to
was
go
kind of
over
funny.
well.
No, he didn't like that too much, did he? So, what what's the back? Is he just a YouTuber that you guys know from, or is he doing
He's
something
been in the
else that
racket, I
kind of
think, for about 5 years now.
okay?
Actually, he goes back to Dave Nesdahl. You know the name,
I know the
and then
name. Yep.
used to be rooted in JB's channel.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
how things sometimes they grow apart and stuff. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of our Canadian national treasure for guitar YouTube guy, right?
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha. Sort of the red green of YouTube, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I when I was dating, you know, my wife now going up, I stayed in Toronto with her for a couple of months, you know, when we were engaged, and happened
yeah.
to come across, you know, red green probably some reruns or something. I was like, oh, this guy's pretty funny.
right? That's pretty much Canadian humor. That and Bob and Doug.
Yeah. Well, I remember that from a kid. They were national. So, the old take off, and the
Take off, you
yeah,
hoser.
yeah. So what else was I gonna ask? John, your buddy John, is he in a band or he just kind of
He's
fiddles?
kind of actively looking to get back in a band. He's tried a couple, but it's never gelled.
Mm-hmm.
And as you may have picked up already, he's a little bit picky. He can be picky at times.
Little bit, but
Got
hey,
pretty high standards, right?
that's completely understandable. I mean, have you
Yeah.
ever met a person that has made a 5150 replica? You know, those are picky guys.
Yeah.
I'm picky to a point, but mine doesn't have to have all the same little scratches and so forth, like
The
like
quarter
Rob,
hole in the right spots.
yeah,
The
yeah,
reflectors are.
like Rob EVH 5150. No, no, that's
I
cool.
mean, everybody's got to have a hobby, right?
Yeah. Now I saw Rob's post earlier with his 5150. Man, dude, that thing looks cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So,
They are.
is Rob still in the chat? I saw some comments that some of your buddies have.
It's just you and Mike Olson.
Is that all?
What?
Now there's
Seven
seven.
people.
There's seven of us in here
I
somewhere.
think if you don't comment for about 3 minutes, it takes you out of the participation loop for as far as chat goes.
I got you. What's up, ET 5150? How's it going, man? Picky without OCD. Yeah, that would describe me. I'm picky to a point. I'm picky about my tone. But other stuff like yeah, got a few.
Finger's still here. Yeah. See, I knew you guys were still here. It says 7P.
Yeah, I thought for sure I saw Rob 5150 or yeah, Rob 5150 EVH was up there earlier. I was going to ask him a little bit about his replica that he had going.
Can I add him? Rob. I can still add him. Let's send him a cheers.
Maybe we'll wait and see if he comments. Yeah, I wanted to ask him a couple things about his post that he had earlier. ET5150 says he is good. And again, we got an Australia Day. Yeah, man. Yeah, Six Fingered was talking about that a little bit ago. You get to start early with the celebration. I heard Pete Thorne play that little riff right there in one of his YouTube reviews of something, and I was like, man, that is a really cool riff.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Pete, he just made a whole song around the whole thing. I don't understand how in the world he can come up with, just little grooves and jams that he does.
I'll tell you, Ryan. He was on Ben's show a couple weeks ago. I think it was like the first Wednesday of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And about an hour in, the question had come up, and he sat down and he broke down his process of how he comes up with these riffs for little things. And at first, it's just a little melody in his head.
Yeah.
And he starts kind of putting vocals to what he kind of wants to do, and then he just starts to develop on the guitar and write down a track for this, and then okay, let's do a track with a little bit different sound, a different guitar, different settings, and he usually has 3, 4, 5 tracks going when he's doing the introduction on a pedal demo. Mm-hmm. And then he'll kind of go through each section and say, well, to get this sound, I just did this, this, and that. And it was pretty cool to watch.
Yeah. And I guess, too, you got, it's like, I get a new piece of gear or something, and I'll come and I'll hook it up, and immediately whatever it does to the tone kind of inspires me for something. So
Yeah.
maybe it's kind of the same
Right.
thing with him. He's like, ooh, that's a cool
Yeah.
kind of univibe
How does it,
sound, and just
how does
comes
it
up.
speak to me? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But man, that dude, he's just a genius. Come
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
with, and it's always good, you know.
Yeah. I've always said he
Sh-
could plug into a potato and make it sound good.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But I've got like little riffs that are going around in my head that have been there for years, and I haven't figured out what to do with them. So for him to just keep churning them out, that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
how did he, or how did Ben and Pete meet? Just in the chat or something?
Nam.
Oh, okay, all right. So hooked up at Nam.
Yeah. Ben's done the Nam circuit a few years, a few 4 years in
Mm-hmm.
a row.
Mm-hmm.
So he's rubbed elbows with a lot of the YouTube circuit
Mm-hmm.
and other musicians and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've been on YouTube for a long time, watching, and I've got some old videos that I put up
I saw that
way
in a
back
band.
when. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But way back when like the 5153 EVH head came out, I had a little video of that, and that
Hmm.
that video's gotten my most views, I guess, because back then there weren't a lot of people on YouTube doing stuff with demos or whatnot. But man, it has
Hmm.
really changed since back then. Seems like everybody's got YouTube channels, so I figured, why not? I'll start one too.
Well, you might as well. You got all the stuff ready to go. It just makes sense. It's a perfect fit, man.
Yep. And just a few weeks and of being on here and watching Johnny's show and meeting new people, Trev, all these guys
Yeah.
in the chat. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So,
Networking.
yep,
I think
absolutely.
you had like 19 or 20 subs when I first found your channel there. Now you got 152. So full steam
Oh yeah.
ahead, man.
Yep, it's growing here and there. I used to ride motorcycles, and this channel I used to just throw up stuff where I'd ride the bike through the mountain, and
Cool.
it was a sport bike, so I had a GoPro attached to the front, and kind of record my ride, and I got a few subscribers from that, and it was
Hmm.
pretty cool. But I'm getting too old for that stuff now, so I figured I'd go back to guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you'd love riding your bike up that Sea to Sky Highway from here to Whistler. It's a beautiful ride for a bike.
Mm-hmm. A lot
Winding
of
mountain highway. You start off beside the ocean, and next thing you know, you're up in the mountains in the snow.
Yeah.
It's quite.
I think maybe one day, I might have a bike and just either fly out that way, rent a bike, or I don't know,
Yeah,
be adventurous and try to ride all that way and then back home.
be
But
fun to
yeah.
get like one of those Dakar style bikes, something a little off roadable. And the
Mm-hmm.
Beamers that make those, the KTM's got a couple of nice ones. That
Yeah.
way, if you see a logging road or something, you can go for a little trip.
Mm-hmm.
And I've only ever been a dirt bike guy.
Yep.
Right? I got my 500 two-stroke, and that thing's just a mountain climbing beast.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those forestry service roads are just a blast. It's just
Yeah.
scoot your way
Yeah.
up to the top of the mountain, kick
Yeah.
back.
We're at the foothills of the Smokies here, so
Right
just
on.
an hour ride north, and we've got some of the winding roads coming in. Not too far from Tennessee. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Dragon. It's like I don't know, 200 and something turns in, I don't know,
Wow.
11 miles or something like that. But a lot of the Forest Service roads are, people go up there on their adventure bikes and go, off roading with that. So that's pretty cool. My luck, though, I would probably find the end of the road that falls down into a big, pond pit or something and ride
I've
straight
been
into
there.
that. Yeah.
I've had to pop the clutch, get up on the back wheel so that I could pivot my bike around and back down and get out of the end of the
Nope.
road situation.
Don't want to go that way.
No.
Cool. You have any new additions to your arsenal, or just the Epiphone there?
Still just kicking around with what I got. The latest acquisition was that Metal Zone modded pedal that I bought off Ben Coombs. Should be in the mail any day now.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Take that
That's
around the block.
Boss MT2, was it?
MZ,
MC,
whatever it is.
yeah,
Maybe you're right. That's the Metal
something like
Zone.
that.
And this one's been some kind of sustainer mod to it. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
Play with that.
I think the first pedal that I ever bought was obviously it was some kind of distortion pedal. I can't remember what it was. Maybe
Uh,
um, I don't think it was Metal Zone. I think it was some kind of um, probably a Boss distortion or something like
ES1.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably so. You know, my first amp was a little Gorilla amp that was about this big, and then you know, I had to crank the the gain all the way up just to get it to sound a little distorted. And
Right.
then I was so proud when I graduated up to the crate amp that was a little bit bigger, you know.
Sure.
And
No
it had a
doubt.
Celestian speaker in it, so man, I was moving on up there.
No doubt.
Yep.
See, for me, I had the JCM 900 Marshall and did some research, and overwhelmingly, most people say get the SD1, the Boss Super
Mm-hmm.
Overdrive. So that was my first purchase.
Okay. Yeah, just something to kind of push the front a bit.
A little punch in the face.
Mm-hmm. Rob says let's see, kind of got a Jimi Hendrix Foxy Lady vibe. What's that? What has that vibe? These guys are talking amongst themselves. I don't know what they're talking about.
I think that was in reply to something we were talking about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, no telling. That's
When,
the
when,
thing
when
is,
you first get a new pedal or something with the Pete Thorne in house, you get inspired by the tones you get from whatever you're sampling. You get that kind of inspiration. That's when that comment came.
oh, gotcha.
Took me a minute. Lifestyle choices, but yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I speaking of lifestyle choices, that reminds me of my trip to Whistler in BC.
Yeah.
Staying with some friends that actually I had met them online. This was playing, video games way back when,
Yeah.
and good people. Played with them online for quite some time, and we were like, hey, let's do something. Let's meet up. So we flew up. They were in Kamloops, BC,
Cool. Yeah.
and you know, I told you that skiing, that was my first and only time skiing. That was my first and only time trying alternate, lifestyle choice with
Yeah.
with a certain herb.
Yep.
And man, I tell you what, I don't know what the deal was, but it made me paranoid. I guess other people it has different effects, and
Exactly.
I got really, really hot, and I'm like, I got to go outside. So I went outside, and it's like -20, and I'm out there in shorts and a tank top t-shirt, and
Yeah.
I'm walking around, and man, I tell you what, I knew, I was alert, but I would kind of like look over here to my right, but I was still looking forward, and then like 10 seconds later, my vision goes tick, 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 over. So
Yeah. It has an effect on some folks.
whatever it was pretty good stuff, but I was like, nah, no thanks. What's going on, Mr. Mick? Welcome to the channel. We got, I think, a in the wild Johnny Bean. There he
There he is.
is. What's up, man?
Here's Johnny.
Johnny, the link is in the description if you want to jump in, say hey. But oh, I see that Pete Thorne riff that I had played. That's what he was talking about. Had
That's
kind
right.
of a Foxy Lady vibe. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was so cool. And I could kind of see where he was playing it, so I figured it out, Yeah, I guess a little Foxy Lady Hendrix vibe on that. Pulling inspiration from everywhere. Let's see. Johnny says, sorry, busy next couple hours, but if we're still on, I can jump in. Yeah, there's no telling how long. How long we'll be here, Johnny?
I can't stay too much longer. I'm good for another half hour. I'm going to have to take care of some business.
Yeah. We got MPN in the chat. What's going on, dude?
There's MPN.
Like I say, you guys feel free to jump in and chat. We're just hanging out. Nothing too exciting other than Trev's stories that he's telling.
Well, we're sharing stories. Your stories are good too, man.
Did you fire up that rig and play us something, man?
Oh no.
No.
I haven't even played today. I'm not even warmed up. That takes a good half hour.
Oh shit, those were the first riffs I've played today. So
Plus, I
yeah.
have, I mean, it would be coming through the webcam mic, so I'd get the
Oh
12-second
yeah,
glory and then it compress.
gotcha, gotcha,
I got the
gotcha.
focus right here. I just got a clear spot for it. My biggest challenge is the monitor speakers.
Mm-hmm.
And I just run it to my Yamaha amplifier with my 5 speakers that I use for the sound in the computer, or get a set of headphones and run it off of that. I'm still kicking around some ideas for that.
I got you.
Just plug the guitar into it. That kind of defeats the purpose, right? So I got to get a 57, I guess.
Yeah.
Figure out where to put that. But your setup is truly inspiring. Now, can a fella just get away with having the interface, the little focus right, or do I need to get a mixer?
You could. It depends on what you want to do. I mean, if
Yeah,
you're
because
going
I
to
really
be,
only need 2 channels, right? Just for a
yeah,
microphone here and a microphone on the cab.
yeah, if you're just going to mic that, yeah, the little Focusrite Scarlett, it has 2 inputs. It's got one for mic and one for, a line level. So yeah, that
Yeah.
would do it. I know some people just use like a Helix or something like that. They'll come out of that, and you can run that straight in there. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, that would be fine. I think that's what
I'll
Johnny
work on it.
uses.
There'll be
Yeah,
a day coming. I'll work on it.
yeah. I think
I'll blow
Johnny
you away with
uses just a
my
little.
Judas Priest riffs.
There you go. I'm pretty sure Johnny uses the Focusrite. Yeah, see, there
Yeah.
he is. Says, I love the Focusrite. Tried using something else but couldn't use it, so went back to the Focusrite.
I
Yeah, I think
remember
that.
Johnny getting that thing figured out. We had me and JJ's House of Jam scratching our heads trying to get it all right, and then finally Johnny had to reach out to Focusrite folks and say, "I'm having these challenges," and they gave him the answer that he needed. It's obviously working well now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I convinced him to buy the Rodecaster Pro 2 that I use,
Oh
and
yeah,
his computer wasn't accepting the USB-C. So yeah, I think he went back. So Johnny's got to upgrade his computer.
it's not that old. He just bought that gaming rig a couple years ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a year old when I started playing GTA with him.
Yeah, yeah. It just probably needs an expansion card to have some USB-C
Yeah, maybe.
stuff going on in there. We had somebody named Sarah was trying to jump in here, and I didn't think that was safe. I don't see a Sarah in the chat. There was no telling what that would be. We got
Mm.
Rob Blackmore is coming in.
Fellow Canadian, here's Rob.
What's going on, Rob? Got the Ernie Ball heavy.
Yep.
That's
Going
your
on tonight.
what's going on? Just chilling.
I'm still anticipating until Friday.
Yeah, you got a new edition coming in, right?
Yeah, Epiphone Les Paul Special Number 2s AFD /
Sweet,
Nice.
very nice. Did you get the little excuse me, the little amp that goes with it, or just the guitar?
I think it's just the guitar, the gig bag, and maybe the strap.
Gotcha. I was searching around last night on Sweetwater, and I've really been wanting a Les Paul style guitar. I don't know
There's
why,
JD.
but I had I looked at a lot of the what is it the 60s standards. The 50s have just too big of a neck on it. And I saw these new PRS McCarty 594 SEs that came out. I don't know if you guys have seen those.
Is that the one that Tim Pierce was giving away?
Tim Pierce, I think, was giving away a McCarty, or not McCarty, what is it, a DMT or something like that.
Right. Yeah, right.
And it was the double cut, I think.
I think that
But
draw's coming up. I'm entered.
yeah. But the one I was looking at is a single cut Les Paul style, and I've been hearing a lot of good things on it. There's just a couple clips because nobody's got one yet. So I was on Sweetwater and they had 2 of them, and I was literally about to pull the trigger and hit buy. It was in my cart, you know. I've got an account there with all my stuff set up, and I was just about to click buy. And I was like, no, wait a minute. Maybe I really want, you know, a Gibson Les Paul. So I went looking around a little bit more, and mind you, they had two.
Hmm.
And then I don't know, about 45 minutes later, I was like, it was $900, you know, for this guitar. And it was
Okay.
really, really sweet looking guitar. And I was like, well, let me just try it, you know. So I went back to buy it, and both of them had sold by the time that I went off and looked and came back. So I
Wow.
was a little disappointed, but I figured maybe I'll wait until some of the YouTube videos come out with people actually playing them and reviewing them and see how they like them before I pull the trigger.
Have you done a PRS with the 25-inch scale thing before?
I've
Played any of
never owned a PRS. Nope. But I thought it was a really nice looking guitar. You know, I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind owning one. But kind of goes back to the point of me being a little picky. I'm picky about my guitars, the way they feel, the way they
Sure.
sound, and just the resonance that they have a lot of times in hand. So I'm kind
Right.
of iffy with buying something, you know, online
Well,
without having it in my
even
hand.
even within the same model and make of guitar, there's
Hmm.
variances, right? I could never just pull a trigger and buy something online unless there was a really good return policy.
Hmm.
I want to sit with something in my lap for 10 or 15 minutes and see if you get that bond.
Hmm. You know,
I was,
the one exception to that I found is the EVH Wolfgangs, or
Yeah.
you know, a lot of the EVH stuff. Now I have gone in and I've taken one off the shelf, like the '78 Eruption Stripe
Sure.
series.
Yeah.
I went in and I saw one hanging and I pulled it down, and just like Laz has said in some of the streams, the fret sprout. It was so bad on this guitar. It was like, man, that would just cut
Mm.
my hands up if I were to play that. That's probably one of the worst ones that I've ever seen. But
the only difference I have is like when I went out and bought the Wolfgang, I find that when I'm playing the Wolfgang, like the neck is completely, it's beautiful. It's just like, and to go pick up the Kramer neck is, I find it's a little bit more narrower. I mean, when I pick up the Wolfgang and play around on it, it's kind of like the first couple of minutes is like a little starchy.
hmm,
It feels like a little, kind of like a little stock.
mm-hmm,
But once you get playing, like I believe it's the Fender Eddie Van Halen signature series that comes on those guitars. I think it's the nines.
mm-hmm.
And when I switch over and play the Kramer, when I'm really digging in, I can actually feel the strings like, rolling underneath my fingers.
Mm,
But it seems like it's a little bit more of a comfortable fit with the Kramer for some reason.
gotcha. Yeah, you know, I've said it before. That's why there's so many different options out there for everybody. You know,
Yeah.
one
The very
guy's.
first the very first guitar I bought, there was a buddy of mine when I was in high school. His stepfather, he had his stepfather's brother was jumping from place to place here across Canada, and he was filling keyboards like keyboard for hire with different bands. Back in the day, he said that he filled in keyboards for April Wine,
Mm-hmm.
and the song "Just Between You and Me." That song, the lead guitar in that song was apparently this guitar that I had bought off of him, and
Huh?
it was, I don't know if you guys heard of a Univox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of similar to the Melody Maker, only thing it's a double cutaway,
Mm-hmm.
and it had two double humbuckers in it, and it only had a single volume, single tone with three-way toggle switching. And the only thing that I had, pardon me, found the problem with it was, um, when you pick it up and you go like this and tip it forward, the neck pickup would go plunk, and it would hit the strings.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So that's what he had told me, that he got it from his stepfather's brother, and his brother had gotten from the guy that was in April Wine, that guitar was actually the guitar that they used in the studio on that track.
Gotcha. Well, I'm
Yeah.
sure that you could have always found some way to make that musical. Just take the guitar and bounce it back and forth and get kind of some weird
Yeah. Now, Ryan, are you
Tom
familiar with April wine?
Tom Morello kind of sounds. What's that, Trev?
Are you familiar with April wine?
I've heard of them, yeah, and I've heard some
Yeah.
stuff. I just, not a whole lot.
Big band for Canada
Yeah,
through the 70s
yeah,
and
yeah,
80s.
yeah. I've heard of them before. I remember they've been around for quite some time, I believe.
Oh, yeah, they were around in the 70s, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There was a kid in high school that I remember specifically. He always had on his book covers. He would draw April wine stuff, so he was a fan
Yeah.
of them. So I've heard of them, and I've heard their music before. I just,
Yeah, one
never,
of their biggest hits is called Roller.
yeah, never done a deep dive into them. Looks like John is in the chat. He says PRS are beautiful guitars, but I'd suggest playing whatever one you want to buy. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Dwight Bailey is in. He's saying hello. What's going on, Dwight?
Cheers, Dwight.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? So I've got, since John is here, I guess I can share the surprise that I said earlier, or not surprise, but something kind of cool. Give me just a minute, and I'll turn this off so I don't make a whole bunch of noise here. So I've been having an idea for a while. I know John is a big fan of the Trans Trim. So, hang on.
I think we're all big fans of the Trans Trim at this point.
Right?
You've brought it back into the spotlight, right?
I think that it's a really underappreciated, or it's something that people just aren't aware of that's out there. I took this particular guitar to a guitar center to try out some amps, and one of the kids that work there, he heard me playing, and he comes over, and I was trying to prevent that from happening. He comes over and he goes, "What in the world is that?" The newer generation, they have no clue. So I showed him what it was, and he was like, "That's really weird, but cool at the same time." So,
Yeah.
not a lot of people know about them, unless you were a Van Halen fan. But all right, so here's what I kind of had in mind, and I'd been thinking of. I was like, the one thing that I don't like about the Trans Trim is I don't have a D tuner on it to do a quick drop D. And I got to thinking, I wonder if I could calibrate it to transpose with a drop D. So I've got this thing calibrated where it can have a drop D tuning, and then you can transpose it and it stays in tune for all the drop. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
No doubt.
So that will no doubt inspire me to write some kind of new riff or something, I guess. I suppose that was one right there. So I think that's pretty.
Jerry Cantrell vibe going.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. So what I might do is, I talked about maybe selling this one, but I think I'll keep the other one in regular, and I'll keep this one in a drop D. And now I'm all set. I just thought that was, I didn't know if it was possible because of the different tension that you have on it, but the more and more that I learned about how the thing transposes, I was like, that should be absolutely possible to calibrate it to do that.
Godzilla comes to Georgia.
Yeah. John says that's why you need to keep both. One and yep, exactly. So I'll probably do that for a while. I've heard some little rumors and maybe some little sprinkling of stuff going on, little stuff here and there. Little murmurs. I'm thinking that Gibson is doing something with possibly bringing something back with a trans trim.
Is there anyone else you can think of that kind of utilized it on an album or a song or anything?
Well, you had Alan Holdsworth used one. David Gilmour of Pink Floyd used one.
Right, he had that little stuff.
A lot of people don't know that.
Did Mick Mars use one, Ryan? I heard you playing Dr. Feelgood the other day. It sounded really good.
No, I think he just had different guitars, or that was one of his standard tunings, was just a drop tuning. A lot of the Motley Crue stuff is a drop, a drop standard tuning. Vito Bratta, like ET5150 said, for White Lion, I know he used one.
With the Gilmour thing, I think I saw him playing with Kate Bush, and he was playing his little Steinberger on that live show with her doing that Running Up the Hill song or something.
Could be. I forget what songs he used that on, but I know that he used one. It actually was auctioned off with a lot of his guitars not long ago. Wow. No telling how much that thing went for. Sure. So, was it Sorrow, John? Yeah. Obviously, he wasn't in a drop tune. Can't figure out how to play it with a drop D on. I'll have to look at that. Sorrow was always one of my favorite tunes. Keep the A and E chord in tune. Yeah, I can kind of hear what he was doing with the trans trim in my head now that I think of the tune. Definitely going to have to learn that one then. R2, right. R3, what's going on, man? What is going on? He'd bury the bar for the A and the E. Yep. I'm definitely going to do that on the other Steinberger after this. See how that sounds.
Right on.
You guys, the link to jump in here is in the description for the StreamYard link. Any of you guys want to jump in, say hello, join the chat, feel free.
As long as your name's not Sarah.
As long as your name's not Sarah, yep. Of course, you know, it may have been a pretty good show if she jumped in here. Who knows what Sarah was planning to do. It's the first sustainer I've ever tried or used. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's interesting too? Thanks, John. What's interesting too with this guitar is you can also pull up a, I guess it's a harmonic on it. Hear that come in?
Glorious.
Cool stuff. Cool stuff.
No doubt.
So what else been going on, Rob? You got anything? You waiting on that guitar?
Just wait.
I know you've been struggling with that detuna on that Wolfgang. Have you figured anything out?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to unfortunately take it into Long and McQuaid. But what I'm gonna do is, like, I was talking to them about it before Christmas, and they told me that I'd have to leave it in there because I was gonna get those EVH put on it. And he said, "Well, you're looking at like a 2 week wait, and it won't get done till after Christmas." And I was like, "No,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
no,
No.
I'm gonna take it back home." And like, I wasn't pulling it out for drop D or anything like that. It was just making sure that, like, if I did plug it in from, even if it was a flat E and the rest were in standard tuning from there down, I'd be fine with that. And then I was like, well, I also got the Kramer to jump to, right?
Yeah.
At least something, right? And like, it's not really bothering me. Like, I'll pick it up and I'll strum on it for a little bit and play around with it for maybe I usually maybe an hour and a half or something like that every second or third day.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, life goes on. But I mean, like, and that's like a lot of guitar players, like, you didn't do your homework. You know what I mean? Like, you
Mm-hmm.
didn't practice that, right? But I mean, like, when I can, but eventually, like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna order a brand new detune kit myself, and I may just end up doing it myself. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's not exactly rocket science, right?
No, there's
Worth a
nothing
try.
to it. So again, what exactly is it doing to you?
The little micro screw that's in the side of the detuna,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's all tuned, but when you go to when you push it back in and try to fine tune it to the low E,
Mm-hmm.
it gets there. It gets like a hair stroke between, or like right in the middle between, like, just as close as 40-40 as you can get it. And when you get it right there and it hits that green and all the green bars light up,
Mm-hmm.
then the screw strips and it just goes wow, back
Oh,
to flat.
Maybe
I
referring
got
to
you.
John DeChane's comment.
Yeah. So you've just got a stripped
A
adjustment.
strip micro screw.
Yeah. Those things I think are what, 30-40 bucks American. So that's probably
Yeah.
what, 300
Just for the
Canadian,
screw?
something like that.
Yeah, I looked on Amazon, and Amazon, they're saying even through Long and McQuaid on their website, it's anywhere from $64.99 to $74.99, and
Oh
that's
wow.
that stays, but you can get any color you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think they've got I saw a purple one that I was thinking about for my 5150 series Purple Days guitar. Thought that'd be pretty cool. But
yeah.
yeah, I've never had one do that to me with the stripping out. I've had where
Well,
they're kind of really stiff before, and I've just taken them apart. And sometimes I sand the inside of it, and I take my locking screw out, and I'll sand that down. And sometimes just a little bit of chapstick or something
yeah,
on that
Sure.
on that locking screw. Nothing that's gonna be dropping out of the guitar, but that's always seemed to smooth things up for it. But yeah, I've never
Called it
had one of
ball.
those strip.
I think what it was is when I went in to buy it, it was secondhand, brand new. Like, the person who had it previous to me, they must have really babied it because it was in tune. There
Mm-hmm.
wasn't any fret sweat on it, and I mean, I took it home here. I let it set in the house maybe 2 or 3 hours before I even plugged it in.
Mm-hmm.
Just to transition from the vehicle to the house. And when I plugged it in, I just went on that the Fender the Fender LT25, I went to preset 11 metal lead. That's what I've been kind of playing on lately. Like the rest of them are like, you know, I did make a couple presets, but I mean, like there's one I followed, and there's this guy on YouTube, and he was showing the little screenshots of the Mustang 25 screen of Van Halen 1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I only got the volume itself on the amp, maybe a quarter to 12 and no gain. But I mean, like, I put the master volume at quarter to 12. And when I did that preset and I put it at the master volume at quarter to 12, like I usually do, and everything wide open on the guitar, it's like, you know, voiding a live wire. It's like I can't even stand like this far away from the amp.
Yeah.
And I got like I'm just like if I move my hand slightly, it's just like
Yeah.
up in the air.
Yeah.
So I bypassed that altogether.
Makes the guitar alive and feeding back, I guess. We have
It's very, very active pickups.
John says that the detuners for him are disposable. Little Allen adjustment screws wear out. Yep. I found somewhere that it must be I think it's FU Tone. I think they sell the little screw that goes in there. So
it would be a lot better if they would put a little tiny flat-headed screw in that slot instead of those micro nuts. That way you'd be able to get the set screws, the set screwdrivers that you get with the drill sets.
Mm-hmm.
And if something happened there, if you're trying to either interchange it, put a different color to customize on the guitar, or just trying to fine tune it to the E, I think it would be a lot easier instead of trying to grab that little, crazy looking Allen key.
Yeah.
You're always scared. It's so thin. You're scared that ever so slightly you're allowed to snap it off. Or I think it would be a better solution if they took that micro nut out and put a very nice, almost the same size as that micro nut, a screw with a Phillips head on it, and where you could use the set screwdrivers.
Mm-hmm.
And you could just little easy, and once you get it on the mark, because it's not going to stay on the mark.
Well, I've got guitars that I've had. Well, my 5150 replica, I've got one on there, and I put that guitar together 2006, 2007, and I've played it, all these years, and it has always stayed right where it needs to be. I don't change string gauges. I stick with the same gauge. So as long as you stay with that, it should stay the same. All my Wolfies have it. I've added it to, my Stripe series guitars have come with it, and I've never really had any issue. The only thing that I've had to do is kind of maybe sand that inside down a little bit to get it to slide a little bit better. But as far as that little adjustment screw, I've always found that once I get it, it's pretty good. I haven't had too much trouble with it. Let's see. We have, John said he went through 4 of them without stripping out. Yeah. Oh, went through 4 of them stripping out and said enough. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the point I'm at right now. I think what I might do is, I know it comes with a tuner and it looks nice on the guitar, but I think what I might do in the long run is, because I want to get my EVH strings on the guitar. I mean, like, if I took it in there, it'd be no cost to change it over, because when I bought the guitar, they said, well, if you have any issues, there's like a 3-month warranty. I paid like $45.
Mm-hmm.
It covers me on all small things on the guitar. But when on the website, if you look at it and you scroll up and you see the very bottom underneath, where, like, if you were to go to put the order in, it got like a little icon there, like a diamond or whatever, and it tells you that it's eligible for, like, go in and set up if you need it, your intonation checked,
Mm-hmm.
string change, and all that jazz.
Yeah.
So I'm good for that. But I
Yeah.
mean, like, maybe I'd do it myself and just take the detoner off and put the pin back in, and from a special to a standard for now. And if I want to do a drop D, I can always manually tune it to the D.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
I play around mostly in standard anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's what John was saying earlier. He went back to just screwing in the fine tuner all the way in minus a turn, and then you can undo it to a drop D if you need. So, and I'm sure that's probably what Eddie did for years, before that thing was out.
Well,
Some
fellas, I
guys
gotta
can look
bail.
them,
Kid's
not me.
hungry. She's bugging me for food, so I'm
All
gonna
right.
go cook some stuff.
We'll see you, Trev.
You're
Have a
still
good
around
one.
later? I'll jump back on.
All right. We'll see what's up. We
Cheers,
have
brother.
R2R3. He says that FU Tone has those little screws, so I would think that maybe the bottom of it is probably stripped out. Six Fingers said, "Yeah, I have to shave the D-tuna on my Ernabell Music Man EV8s to get it to drop a full step. My EX works with the screw fully removed. Previously had both units on Floyd Rose specials and the screws were at half adjustment." Yeah.
Yeah, because some of the pictures you see when you see them advertising and they got the D-tuna, you can see just a very little tiny bit of that micro screw sticking up out of the D-tuna.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I've seen some of the FU Tone stuff too, like when they show, like on Instagram, when they show those their pictures of the guitar front on, and then they flip it around, show the back with the cavity for the springs and the claw. Like you just pay attention when you look, and then you see some of the close-up shots of the Floyd Rose and that, and you look at that D-tuna. Sometimes you could see it just sticking out just a little tiny bit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and I know they have the different size set screws for them, just depending on where your saddle is for your intonation. So I guess all that goes into consideration with how much adjustment you need, and if you tune to E flat or E standard or whatever. Dwight Bailey says most of my songs are drop C standard, C G C F A D, so he just down tunes the whole thing. Six has done string changes without ever having to adjust a D-tuna once calibrated. Yep, that's been my experience. Six, same thing. ET5150, I have only one set up like 6 years ago, hasn't moved. Yeah, so I guess maybe you got a dud, or the person that owned it before you may have, really hunkered down on it and maybe stripped it.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. ET5150 says, I don't change gauge or tuning on the guitar. Yeah, same with me. A couple of guitars that I have them in, E flat. And once they're set up, I use the same string gauge. My E flat guitars, I use 9 to 46. And my E standard, I use 9 to 42. And so once they're set up, I really haven't ever had to adjust that little fine tuner. It seems to stay where I put it.
I think the gauge of EVH that I have is 10 to 52. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty heavy.
I mentioned that to you. I mentioned that to you a couple of videos ago, and you said you turn down a half a step, but all of it, if they're 10s.
If I have a 10 on the guitar, that would be the only reason. Would be to if I'm tuning down, use a little heavier gauge, and that's just me. That's my personal preference. I feel like it doesn't feel as floppy on the low E when you use a little larger gauge. Janice is here. Hello, Janice. How's it going?
Hi, Janice.
Welcome. MPN 5150 says that his is very hard to pull out. I have to hold the bar down and really grip the thing to pull it out. MPN, my recommendation, like I was saying earlier, take the whole thing off and flip the D-tuna over to the U base or the U cutout that's in there. Get you some fine sandpaper and roll it up and just put it in there and sandpaper that out. That's going to make a little bit better spacing in there. Sometimes you can have like a casting piece or something that's stuck there. Just make sure that that's really smooth in there. And then your set screw, go ahead and sand that down a little bit too and put it back together. And I bet you that'll be way more conducive to pulling in and out. Most of I found that the USA models that I got, not a problem. Those were primo. Some of the Mexican made specials and some of the stripe guitars, I've had to do some of that to it. There's not as much attention to detail to those, I think. So
mine is from Mexico too.
Yeah. Johnny says, I found 3 detunas in my guitar moire that people have sent me over the years. Maybe Johnny will give one away and you'll win it, Rob. Let's see.
Spin, I'm here. I can win it.
Right? Everybody saying hello to Janice. Let's
Johnny.
see. The best detuna is a free one, says Six Fingered. I would agree with that. Anything free. Let's see. You can see and hear EVH on the 84 Tour bootlegs, finishing Unchained and just smashing the fine tuner screw back to E flat. Yep. Yeah, I remember Robbie's. Go ahead.
I think it was MPN there mentioned about him having a problem pulling his detune out. I noticed that with mine too. And you from the top when you go to pull it out, you got to push it down just a little tiny bit and kind of flick it back.
Yeah, he was saying that he actually has to push the trim bar down, take some of the slack off the strings to pull it out.
No, that's not with mine. Like what he's got to make sure too is that little fine tuner that's above the detuna is backed out all the way. They tell you that. I noticed that in a lot of videos right across the board. You got to make sure that little tiny fine tuner is backed out where it leaves the space between that and the pin. And even still, with that backed out a little bit, you have to, because you're doing the tuning, remember, with the micro nut. That's why you would leave the fine tuner out. Even still, with that out, you have to push down slightly and push back towards the back of the guitar, bottom of the guitar, down and out.
Yeah, I always run mine all the way up, and I'll do it with the detuna pulled out, and then I'll back it back in just until it touches that screw, and that's where I leave mine. So yeah, that certainly, if you've got that thing clamped down halfway, yeah, it's gonna be a nightmare to pull out.
Yeah.
Let's see, we got chats moving here. John says 946 for E flat. Yep, same thing that I use. Johnny says I have 3 of them brand new in the boxes. He has a red, chrome, and black. So I guess put your request into Johnny there and see what happens. Dwight Bailey uses 11 to 49. Wow, that's heavy strings. Use Stevie Ray Vaughan or something? I think he used 13 to 50 something. Yeah, he used a really, really fat string. John DeShane tuned to C. MPN is going to give that a try. That'll certainly help. And you can't hurt it. I mean, you're not going to do anything that's going to damage it. Six Fingered Assault uses 942 in E flat, so he likes a floppy top string.
Yeah. The one I had, the detuna that I have on it is chrome.
Yeah. Six Fingered Assault says that everything is rigged. Yeah, all the giveaways, they're all rigged. It's planned out weeks ahead who's going to win. Even that little fiasco with Richard the other day, that was all planned. Robbie just texted, said he's really enjoying the program. What's going on, Robbie? Why aren't you here? What was it Steve Rosen said? I can't do this myself. Janice is saying hello. Dwight Bailey saying hello. Let's see. 10 for John DeShane. Most of my songs, some are in standard tuning, but most in drop C. Let's see. Everybody saying hello. So hello. MPN. Man, I'm way behind in the chat. Johnny's saying, yeah, if you have to push the trim bar down to pull the detune out, your bridge is not sitting straight on the body. Yep, seen that too. A lot of, what really irritates me about the Floyd Rose 1000 that they're using on a lot of the specials, and even the Wolfgang USAs now, is that bend on the back where those fine tuners are. It looks like they overbent it, and it goes too far downwards. So that pushes the detuna down into the body. If they would get those flat, I think that would fix that issue. Yeah, see where the bend on the end of your Floyd there, where those fine tuners screw into? Yep. Yeah, it looks like it's got a little too much bend in it where it pushes it backwards. So the detuna typically should be sitting straight. Let me put this guitar up. I don't know if you can see this, but this is the USA Stealth. And you see how flat that bend is? It's kind of hard to see with it being black. With those fine tuners, let me grab another. Like my 5150, it has a real German-made Floyd on it.
Yeah.
See how straight that is?
Yeah.
And if you notice on a lot of those specials, it's bent too far.
It's almost like that little thing too, MPN. If you look at your back here, the between the top part of, like Ryan's saying, where that fine tuner is, and there's the metal plate of the Floyd Rose, the detuna, and underneath the detuna, there's a little piece of metal that kind of pushes that detuna in place just up a little bit to make it flush towards the Floyd Rose. You kind of got to watch that too, because if that piece of metal is pushed up too far, it'll choke off your detuna. That's why back in the day, I heard somebody saying that there's a lot of guys that were clipping that piece out. They would clip that piece out. But I wouldn't do that. What I would do is I would just take, like, maybe, like, I got Eddie's the shark pick, which is a 0.60 millimeter pick. That's really thin, right? What I would do is take a thicker gauge pick, like a heavy pick, like this Ernie ball, and just take this here back part of it and kind of maybe slide it in between that little piece of metal and the bottom underlay of the detuna just a little bit, not forcefully, and just kind of push it down just a little, very easy, just a little bit. That way it gives it the room. Like I was saying earlier, there's the detuna. And like a lot of the guys, they just pull them out. Don't do that. What you gotta do to treat it easy, because you don't want to mess with anything. I just gotta push down and pull out. See, it got a little bit of a give to it. So in order to push that back in, you got to push it down and push it back in, and it locks back into place, which brings you back to E standard tuning.
Yeah, I've never really had that problem. I just yank that sucker out. Yeah,
Yeah, no. I got to push down on mine.
Yeah, this one is so much smoother than the Mexican Strats, or the Mexican Wolfgangs. I think there's a little more care and quality that they do on the USA ones. But if it's set up right, you should be able to just yank that thing right out. All right, I'm really falling behind on the chat. Thicker strings easier on the fingers? I have not found that to be the case. The thicker strings typically will eat up my fingers. You got to have a lot more finger strength for your bends and whatnot, Janice. Yeah, see, John, I don't find it easier. MPN, his bridge is floating, so really can't use a detuna on that. Uh-oh. Hang on. What do we got?
Open the blast doors.
Okay, Robbie, I'm opening up the doors. Hang on. I'll let you in. Hang on. What is going on, Robbie? Welcome.
Howdy.
Six Fingers says, I'll click the link and try and join in. Yeah, man. Jump on in.
Cool.
D-tuna is set up wrong. Yeah, like I said, if it's set up properly, I don't think you should be having that much trouble getting that in and out. And I've had several of them over the years, and they've always been pretty well set up, and I haven't had to do any of the pushing or pulling the bar down or anything like that. Pushing down and pulling out works. I just tried it. Thank you. So that's working. Everybody's saying hello to Robbie. What's going on, man? Welcome in.
What's happening, everyone?
What's new in Robbie Stingle world?
Well, I did a third pre-assembly of this thing
Oh, nice.
yesterday. You see the bridge is a little bit lower now.
Mm-hmm.
I had to take the bridge off, and I filled part of the stud hole with a dowel and re-drilled it
Yeah.
because it just wasn't tight enough for me.
You had a little wobble in it, you think?
It wasn't really wobbling, but it was like maybe not as tight as I would have liked it. Like it wasn't actually moving, but it just didn't. I wasn't satisfied.
Yeah, just didn't feel up to Robbie standards.
Yeah, it wasn't like solid as a rock, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I redid it.
Yeah.
And then, totally redid the whole thing. Believe it or not, I got the action even lower.
Nice.
And tightened down this string clamp, this string retainer a little more.
Mm-hmm. Is that
Something.
a round one? Yeah.
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 That
Robbie's like, oh yeah, I don't use anything but the round ones. Yeah.
that was specially made for me by Kyle at Dive Bomb.
Okay.
It's 2 inches wide.
Very cool.
So it totally covers everything. I can move it back a little bit from the nut.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like right on top of it.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's the third pre-assembly on this thing. Probably have a couple more before it's out for paint.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's got to be just right.
So what else you think needs to be tweaked up on it?
Well, I'd like to file that nut just a little bit more. Even though the action's really good, I think you get a little bit better on that E-string. So I'm going to file that shelf a little bit more.
Okay, gotcha. So just dropping the nut down itself.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the nut off, and I'll file the shelf just to maybe a mil,
mm-hmm.
and put it back down. It's like at probably Kramer factory spec height, which is abhorrent to me. Like they could have done a lot better. But yeah, it's pretty darn close. I still got to make the cover.
Mm-hmm.
I got plastic. I'll cut it out of.
Now you know what? My replica that I've got, I've never had a cover on the back. So where do you get the material to do that?
A hobby store.
Yeah. Just
yeah,
like
they make different thicknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Well, out here we have a place called Hobby Town. I know that they're around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have one of those here too. So they'll sell that.
Yeah, they sell the sheet plastic. And it comes in different thicknesses. I think the one I'm using is 6 millimeter. And what I'll do is I'll cut a piece of cardboard out, make sure it fits in it really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll use that to trace with an X-Acto knife onto the plastic. Mm-hmm. And then I use a pair of rather sharp scissors and cut the plastic off. But remember, you can't cut like round edges
right
out of the square piece. You gotta cut right across, cut the other one across, and then cut the corner in.
Mm-hmm. What did Eddie say that he used for his pick guard? He used a soldering iron to smooth out the edges.
Wouldn't surprise me. I know the first one he used a vinyl record, sanded it down.
Yep, I think that's what he was saying. He cut it out, and then he used a soldering iron to even it out. Johnny Bean, where are you? You would know.
Yeah, JB.
JB, yeah.
JB.
Let's see. StewMac or all parts should have drop-in plates for the 5150 shape. Well, yeah, I guess that's a Kramer shape. Yeah, I don't know how accurate my body was with the route on the back.
Well, you got to figure how accurate is Stu Mac doing a reproduction.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah,
And
I'll take a
they
look.
all-
That might give me an opportunity to just do some arts and crafts, break out the tools.
Well, Kramer wasn't very accurate with those either. They cut them out on bandsaw.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times your actual Kramer plate wouldn't really fit all that great.
Yeah. You got a bunch of people saying hey to you, Robbie. You got MPN 5150. You got Dwight Bailey. You got John DeShane. You got Zach Thong.
Zach. I'm an honorary Canadian now. Zach made me an honorary Canadian.
Very nice. Well, my wife is Canadian, so I'm half Canadian, I guess. So everybody in chat saying hello to you.
Oh, that's nice. Everybody, Saturday, be there.
I was just about to ask you if you had that thing just all tweaked out and ready to go.
It's ready to go. I mean, I'm betting that you don't even have to intonate this. I've been doing this so long, I can put those saddles on, and I'd say 9 times out of 10, I don't even have to intonate the guitar.
Mm-hmm. You got it eyeballed, huh?
And this is a 1984 bass plate. If you look closely, you could see it's got the little dots. You see those little marks on the bottom?
On the very bottom?
Yeah, yep. all across the bottom of the base plate.
Mm-hmm. That
means it's one of the first that was cast. As casting went on, when you get into like later 84, 85, by 86, they're smooth because the casting's so worn out. Uh-huh. And that's why the tolerances are better. And this puppy, these fine tuners, they're nice. They're snug.
Yeah.
This is a quality bridge here.
You know what that would look really, really good on? My Kramer Pacer special that I've got over there.
Well, hey,
But you know what? The giveaways are all rigged, so I'm like.
Well, I used to think that, but 6 Finger Assault's getting a postcard.
Mm-hmm.
And it costs big bucks to get a postcard to Australia.
It shouldn't be too bad, I wouldn't think.
Oh, it was pretty high, but I don't want to say I didn't mail it, but if it was rigged, somebody in California would have got it, like Johnny's neighbor or something.
Yeah, obviously.
There you go.
obviously, we're just joking about that. ET 5150 is telling me to go to Pickguard Heaven for the plastic piece, I guess. I guess they have it there. I haven't heard of that store, ET 5150. Where's that located?
You can do that, but your piece of plastic you cut it out with is going to probably cost you about maybe $4.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And that cover is going to cost $25.
John DeShane is calling you a hoser since you're an honorary Canadian.
Okay. That's cool. Hoser back at you, man.
R2R3 says, Robbie, I'll send you my address with postage and handling. I guess that's for the...
He's feeling lucky.
Zach says, I'm an honorary Canuck. I'll take it. Floyd Rose has 84 repros at their site. Yep, I'm wanting to get one. I actually want to get one to this new USA signature Wolfgang that I've got. I don't like the Floyd. I think they actually used the Floyd 1000 on that guitar. So I want to put a real Floyd on it.
Well, I mean, the reproductions are not as good as the ones from actually 1984.
Well, they should be better than this Floyd Rose 1000.
Oh, I'm sure it's better than that, but
Yeah.
the tolerances are off. They're not. They're a shadow of what basically what this is, or any of the Floyds that I use. To tell you the truth.
You know, that one might actually even look good on one of my Wolfgangs too. So, you know, I'll be there. I'll be there to see if I can win it.
What size block comes on the Wolfgang specials? Do you know?
What size? What?
Blocks.
I'm sure it's just a 32. Wouldn't you think, Robbie?
Well, if it's not a routed top, it's a 42.
What do you mean a routed top?
Routed. You know, if it's a top mount,
Yeah.
this block's 42.
Oh,
I have
no.
42 in every guitar I have is 42.
Yeah, the Wolfgang specials are a carved top, so they do have, you see like he's showing there, it's got a little bit of a carve on the top, so it sits down a little bit.
That goes all the way. That goes all the way around on the sides of the Floyd Rose.
Yeah, it's still decked, but it does have a little inset into the top of the body.
Yep.
So I don't know. I've never taken the back off of mine, so I don't know. So who knows? So that's going to be on Saturday that's done, or is that?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm sure everybody will be there. So what else is happening? Everybody in the chat's kind of going to sleep. I'm about to fall asleep myself.
What?
What's Zora have to say? Is it Zora or Zora?
Zora.
Zora, yeah.
Yeah. You're Zora Kitty. Yeah, huh? It's a good girl.
Oh man. Just plug that thing in, Rob. Let's hear it. Oh, you got to be quiet. Your wife's sleeping.
No, the next door neighbor.
Who cares about the
I
next
don't.
door neighbor? I crank my stuff up. Neighbors have never complained. I guess maybe they know better. So did you see earlier, Robbie, what I had done to the other trans trim guitar? Did you catch that?
No.
Super cool.
I maybe some other people missed it. I'll show again. I had been having this idea of, I wonder if I could do this. But the one thing that I've always missed on the trans trims is that I don't have a detuna on it. So I took this one and I wanted to see if I could actually calibrate it to have a drop tuning on it and it would stay in tune. So it's now calibrated to transpose with a drop tuning on the E. I thought
Cool.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
sounds good.
That gives me a reason to keep both of them. So I thought that was pretty nifty.
Yeah, sounds great, man.
So once I hit 1 million subscribers, I'll be giving this guitar away. So tell your friends. Well, I think that's going to about do it for me. I'm going to go up and watch some TV and get ready to go to bed and go to work next morning. So
All right,
appreciate
Jen.
you guys stopping in and hanging out. Had fun.
It's a pleasure.
I'm thinking that obviously tomorrow is Eddie's birthday, so I know that everybody's probably going to be jumping on and doing some kind of stream. So maybe I'll find a spot in between everybody else and maybe jump on again tomorrow. We can have a little get together. And tomorrow could be Trans Trim Thursday. So we'll see everybody later. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you guys.
See you.
Catch everybody next time. See you.
All right. See you guys. See everybody in the chat.